Welcome to everybody for the interview of the crew from the film Sorry Angel, directed by Christophe Honoré. He's in the studio with us. Thank you very much for being here with us. You have come along with Vincent Lacoste and PierreDeladonchamps. Thank you very much. Yes, we're live on the TV festival here. Thank you very much for being here. So we'll have to watch what we say. Yes, because we are live on TV festival and because the official screening has already taken place, perhaps we can talk about that screening. There were lots of applause, thunderous applause. You can take a look at some of the footage from the event last night after the film had been screened. Christophe, you're back in Cannes in the official competition. So what does it mean to you when you see these pictures? What were you feeling yesterday evening? Well, I've got contradictory emotions. Of course, we're really moved and slightly embarrassed. We want to hide under one of the seats there. But why are you embarrassed? Oh, I don't know. You're right to put that question. Yes, when you show your film, you hope that people are going to applaud. So it's a bit strange, but I'm always a bit embarrassed. And I think making a film is a really solitary experience. So it was thrilling for me to be able to offer this to Pierre and to Vincent and the other actors and actresses in the film. Yes, of course, Pierre, this was the first time for you in the official competition. Well, how did you feel last night, during the screening and after the screening? Are you relieved? Were you full of joy? What were you feeling last night?
Si je me fie aux faits, je crois que j'étais très stressé parce que j'ai
I was really stressed because I had to go out to the loo halfway through the screening, and then I had to creep back in the dark, and I tripped over everybody on the way back. So I was crawling on my hands and knees to get back to my seat. So I think that reflects how stressed I was.
D'accord, évidemment, il n'était pas là, bien sûr, mais ça, ce sont les acteurs. Vincent,
how did you feel last night?
Je sais que vous m'en aviez parlé, vous étiez stressé avant.
You said beforehand that you were really stressed out before you even came to Cannes, and it was stressing for you to be in a competition. So how did you feel after the screening? Well, we were waiting to see what kind of reaction people would have. So as the final titles were rolling down the screen, we were wondering what on earth was going to happen next. But everything went really, really well. We were moved. We were bowled over. There were so many people from the crew who made the film there in the room, and we felt that people really had enjoyed the film. And some people in the team that made the film hadn't yet seen the film. So it was really moving to see them discovering the film. Did you have any doubts, Vincent and Pierre, although you had seen the film yourselves? Well, yesterday's screening, well, we saw it in a movie theatre, but there, last night, there were 2,000 people in the room with us and everyone was reacting. It was a completely different experience. I think when you've got the crew in the movie theatre with the audience, it's almost as if you're on stage as well. So it was a unique feeling. And Christophe Honoré, this is a last love story and a first love story in that particular period in time. There are certain ghosts of your own experience floating over that film, and also Marie Caltès and Hervé Guibert, the different writers which inspire you and who you adore. Does this film recount the type of experience that you would have loved to experience with them? Well, in fact, movies make impossible encounters possible. So this film is very personal, but it's peopled with other people also. And that's what I was really aiming for. I wanted to sketch out the 70s, for example. For me, it was really important that the film had these ghosts, but living, happy ghosts. And there's all kinds of individuals who I really loved back in those days in my film. And I wanted to offer them the film as an extension of their life. Really, that's one of the ideas that I had. I love the joy that is filtering all through the film, often embodied by Vincent Lacoste. But it's also in your way of broaching the illness and possible death of PierreDeladonchamps' character. Was it important to have that light-weighted approach to death? Well, yes, in fact it was. I think in this kind of subject we haven't got to be too solemn. I do assume the melodramatic side of the film, but I think when you've seen these characters happy at the beginning of the film, you're more upset when you see them sad at the end of the film. So one character sees that they're starting a love story which is not going to go anywhere, despite all of the threats hanging over their heads. And they really had that desire. Well, I rather had that desire to enable the characters to be joyous. So, Pierre, what did Christophe say to you to help you prepare your role? You were playing the role of a writer, a recognized author, who is a father, and who is also facing illness and death. How did you prepare yourself to work on that role?
Voilà, je sais pas, ça va pas être très original, mais j'ai pas l'impression d'avoir préparé le rôle.
I don't really think I prepared the role.
Création avec Christophe, c'est
I was creating with Christophe when we were on set to understand what he was thinking of. I was amazed by the set design that he had thought up, because it was very unostentatious, but it was very precise also. And I just wanted to make myself completely available to him. I obviously made sure I learned my text.
Non, et sinon, toujours être heureux d'être là.
I just wanted to be happy to be there. And I really did feel available to him. So how did you manage to get that right distance from melodrama and from comedy? How did you put the cursor the right place along that line between the two? There was Denis Podalides, who plays a great role as well, with some funny interactions. And then there's this scene in the bathtub where with one of your former lovers who is dying. How did you manage this detachment? Well, that's what I love about Christopher's films. I've always admired his films, and he manages to defuse melodramatic situations by staging things in a certain way. So these are really serious subjects, but they are treated with a lightness thanks to the vocab that he uses, for example. And that's what I really enjoyed doing when I was acting. I didn't want to copy what I'd seen Christophe's previous actors doing. I was frightened that I wouldn't be able to live up to all of those expectations and incarnate the character, but hopefully I did okay. Vincent, did you think very much? Oh yes, I thought so much and deeply. I spent my time preparing. Well, how did I prepare? Well, quite simply, Christophe didn't want rehearsals. So we set out on our own, really. Then he gave me a book written by Alan Ollinghurst. And then he gave me a few film titles, films to watch: Happy Together by Wong Kar-wai, and My Own Private Idaho also.
Et voilà, non, après c'était des discussions et tout ça, moi il voulait pas mal changer mon look aussi, ça aide quand même pas mal les costumes.
He wanted to change my look, he wanted my hair to be smoothed down. What did you think about that? Well, it helped me to play the role.
Oui, ça c'est sûr, quand on est totalement changé, tout ça, et puis il voulait vraiment m'érotiser, quoi.
Different, he wanted to make me look more erotic. Well, that's what he said anyway.
Le costume était mon corps.
Yes, so my costume was my body.
Mais justement, on voit votre corps.
Yes, we see your body in the film. There are certain physical love scenes. Were you a bit nervous about that? Because I think it was the first time you were playing love scenes. Yes, of course. But Christophe guided us so very well. He wanted wanted us only to go as far as we were prepared to. He didn't want us to show anything we didn't want to show. So he guided us very well, and there was a lot of choreography. He decided, you know, how the scenes would play out, and it was all good fun. Pierre was a bit worried. He was making jokes. That's what he does when he's under stress. Imagine you were really free to work with your bodies. Oh, well, since Stranger by the Lake, well, at the time of Stranger by the Lake, I was less conscious about what I was doing, and I've seen that film since when I was naked in that film. It's made me a little bit more shy since then. I'm not embarrassed to be naked, but it wasn't easier. How did you go about showing the bodies? Not too much, but just enough? Well, yes, it really is hard when you're choosing your actors, when you know you're going to be telling a love story. There has to be a spark between the actors that you're selecting.
Vous pouvez parier sur cette idée, mais
en tout cas, gamble, take a gamble.
Donc c'est vrai que c'est pour ça aussi que je voulais pas faire.
And that's why I didn't want to have rehearsals beforehand. We had dinner together, the three of us. We had a bit of a chat. But they have a certain sensuality. They have an attitude to their skin, which is different. Each one has their own approach. And when you're working with dancers, for example, who aren't dancing to the same beat, you can use that difference to bring them into harmony all of a sudden. And then as the story unfolds, they change the way they kiss, for example. So their first kiss was during the earliest days of the shoot, so it was a bit reticent on their part. But then we were giving each other French kisses all day long, even if it wasn't in the script. It's true, you're talking about preparation, and I just remembered that the only preparation which I did was to work closely with Vincent so that we could have that intimacy blossom. And it worked really well because we really do love each other very, very much. There's a type of carefreeness in the film. Your character has no hurdles. I mean, the illness isn't really constitute a hurdle. But what I love about the person I play is what I love about the other Pierre's character is that he's going to live despite the illness, and my young character is learning all about that. So one might imagine that he's carefree, but there is a scene where you see that he checks that the condom is still on after having made love. It's all part of life. But it's not ostentatious. I wasn't saying I'm frightened of my illness, but I am being very careful. That would have been a terrible dialogue had it been in the film. But it can exist in other films. Yes, the director points that out very, very accurately. So they stuck to your screenplay, is that right?
Non, au contraire, moi, en fait, justement, peut-être parce que j'ai publié des romans, etc. Pour moi, le scénario,
published novels, etc. The screenplay is an opportunity to reinvent. So it's not a problem at all if the sentence isn't finished or if the odd word changes. I don't worry about that. I'm not obsessed about each comma and semicolon. On the contrary, I write dialogues in my own way, and so it's interesting for the actors to personalize them for themselves. So thank you very much, Christophe, Vincent and Pierre, for coming into our studio.